I'm John Blacher for Mydealers.ca, and today we're going to check out a brand new StarCraft Storm 176 DC Pro. Now these Storm models are a little bit smaller and a little bit lighter, which means you can tow them behind a small SUV and they should fit in your garage. Let's take a closer look. Starting at the bow, we have an elevated casting platform with 5 spots. Forward under here, you can stash your anchor, and then we've got 2 lockable forward compartments and 2 more additional storage. Now something cool to port, we find a forward fuel fill, and that's because StarCraft puts a fuel tank low in the center of the boat. Much better for CG than sticking it in the back. And it's nice to see the integrated gunnel mounting system all around the entire boat, so you can pretty much mount your accessories wherever you want. If you're thinking about rod storage, don't worry, because there is a fairly decent sized rod locker under the deck as well. And I love that it's held up on 2 gas struts, so I don't have to hold it up, and it's not going to come down on my head. It's a bit bumpy. The helm seat does have a slider, and of course the rest of the seats all pivot. The consoles on this DC model are fairly basic, but they do provide everything you really need in a fishing boat. You've got a little glove box and a spot to mount electronics to port and starboard. And the helm is reasonably laid out, but one thing that I really like is missing on a lot of boats, spot for your cell phone. There's nothing like making a couple of turns and finding your phones flying all over the place. Now, if 5 storage compartments forward weren't enough, including 1 rod locker, believe it or not, there's 5 more in the cockpit. 2, 3, including 2 large gunnel lockers on either side. Now these are where you're going to store the bigger 8-foot rods. I did say 10 in total, right? Well, this is a little bit of storage, but nice and easy access to the electronics, the charger, and the battery. Now, to top it off, there is a 25-gallon aerated live well. And because this is a Pro model, it has a secondary recirc pump to make sure your fish stay nice and active. And it's nice to see tow holds all the way around the entire cockpit and a reasonably sized elevated aft casting platform. Now, if you're worried about narrow boats not being stable enough, well, these VPS hulls are awesome because those big, wide lifting strakes on the outside of the hull provide plenty of stability not only while you're running, but while you're standing still and casting. This is still a very stable boat. What a great little boat, especially if you don't have any space. It's small enough to tow behind pretty much any little SUV. It'll definitely fit in most garages, but I'll tell you what, even though it's small, it is super, super fun. It's got a very, very responsive hull. I love what Smoker's done with their VPS hulls. That Vertex performance drake, it's like a triangular pad just forward of the transom, and it provides lift. It keeps the prop full of water, hardly any aeration, and helps keep you high and dry. And one of the great things about a smaller boat like this Storm Pro is just how light it is, how nimble it is, and how responsive it is. Check this out with the Suzuki 115. When you hit it, it just goes. I just can't believe how many features and how much space they packed in such a small little boat. And I love the fact that you get so much value for your money. You don't need a big 150 and you don't need a big pickup truck to tow it. So if you want to get in tight spots, but you want to keep the family mobile, then that perfect little hull. Remember, the supply chain is not full yet, and inventory remains fairly limited. So if you're looking for a StarCraft fishing boat, you might want to get on it fairly soon. I'm John Blacher for Mydealers.ca.